This is my story. I am a straight doctor. I have been working for more than 20 years without any problem. However, everything changed when I met Gabriel and saw what he had inside his pants. Stay until the end to know this story. So make yourself comfortable, and we invite you to subscribe to the channel and activate the little bell so you don't miss any videos. That morning seemed like any other morning in my office. My name is Daniel, and I am a general practitioner. I have always led an orderly professional life, and I had never questioned my sexual orientation. I thought I had it all figured out, but sometimes life has strange ways of showing you that you haven't seen it all yet. I was reviewing the patient files I had scheduled when a man named Gabriel's turn came up. Upon entering, he immediately caught my attention. He was tall, with dark hair and intense eyes, with an air of confidence that filled the room. He wore a tight shirt that gave a glimpse of his worked physique, but it wasn't something I, in theory, should notice. I shook my head and focused on what I had to do. "Good morning, doctor," he said in a deep but kind voice as he sat down across from me. "Good morning, Gabriel. How can I help you today?" He explained that he was there for a routine checkup, something simple. I took his data, measured his blood pressure, checked his pulse, and we began to talk a bit. His tone was relaxed, almost joking, and I could tell I was liking him more than usual for a patient. "Are you liking the video so far? If so, leave us a like and subscribe. Let's keep going." When it was time for the physical examination, I asked him to take off his shirt to auscultate him. He did so shamelessly, revealing a perfectly defined torso. It wasn't the first time I had seen something like this, of course, but there was something different. His closeness, the way our gazes met briefly, something unnerved me. I felt a little nervous, but I continued with professionalism. "Everything looks good over here," I said as I took my notes. "Now I need you to pull down your pants to check the groin area." I said it as I would to any patient, without thinking too much, but what happened next caught me completely off guard. Gabriel stood up and, with a smile on his lips, unbuckled his belt with a calmness that seemed almost provocative. He lowered his pants naturally, but what I saw completely threw me off. It was impossible not to notice. His physique was impressive, but it was something else that left me speechless. In my years as a doctor, I had never seen such a large member. I froze for a few seconds, trying to process what I was seeing. Gabriel, apparently, noticed my reaction because he let out a slight chuckle. "Everything all right, doctor?" he asked in a tone that seemed a bit amused. Yeah, sure, all right," I replied quickly, feeling the heat rise to my face. I tried to maintain my composure as I performed the examination. I asked him to stand up and raise his arms to feel for any possible hernia, but the touch of his warm, firm skin made me feel a discomfort I could not explain. I had never reacted this way with a patient before, and it made me deeply uneasy. When he finished, I asked him to get dressed while I reviewed my notes, trying to avoid any direct stares. Gabriel seemed relaxed, as if nothing was out of the ordinary. "Thank you, doctor," he said as he buckled his belt. "It's always nice to meet someone so professional." "Before we go on, we invite you to give us a like and subscribe. Let's continue." I didn't know if he meant it sarcastically or sincerely, but I nodded and handed him his report. Before leaving, he stopped at the door and gave me one last look. "By the way, if you ever need a coffee, let me know. I live nearby, and it's always nice to meet interesting people." He left before I could respond, leaving me with my heart beating faster than it should. That night I couldn't stop thinking about him. I felt confused, questioning emotions that had never surfaced in me before. A few days later, Gabriel returned to the office, this time without an appointment. He said he was just passing by and wanted to say hello. We got to talking, and to my surprise, I discovered that he was as interesting as he was attractive. He had a charismatic personality and a way of speaking that captured my attention. Gradually, our talks began to extend beyond the office. I accepted his invitation to have coffee, thinking it would be casual. However, that first outing marked a before and after in my life. Gabriel was not only attentive, but also had a sensitivity I did not expect. He listened to me as if he really cared about what I had to say. And for the first time in a long time, I felt completely seen. "You know, I like you more than I thought I would," he said to me at the end of that afternoon as we walked through the park. "You too, Gabriel, you are different." I said it almost without thinking, but it was the truth. There was something about him that made me want to keep getting to know him, despite the doubts that still lingered in my mind. Over time, we began to see each other more frequently. What initially seemed like a friendship turned into something deeper. I felt nervous but excited every time we were together, and Gabriel seemed to enjoy my company as much as I enjoyed his. And one night, while we were having dinner at his apartment, everything changed. The conversation flowed as usual, but there was a palpable tension in the air. In a moment of silence, Gabriel stared at me and leaned toward me. "You don't have to say anything if you're not ready, but I want you to know that I like you, Daniel." My heart stopped for a moment. I had never been in that situation before, but I knew I couldn't lie to myself anymore. "I like you too, Gabriel," I admitted, almost in a whisper. That night, we kissed for the first time. It was a moment full of emotions, a mixture of nerves and desire that I had never experienced before. From then on, our relationship became more intimate. Since that day in the office, I wanted Gabriel to put it in me. I wanted to feel a big yes like his. And so it was. It was an unforgettable experience. Gabriel helped me to understand and accept parts of me that I had ignored for years. Over time, we faced some challenges. My friends and family were surprised at first, but most accepted our relationship over time. Gabriel, for his part, was always by my side, supporting me every step of the way. Don't forget to subscribe and like us for more content like this. Let's keep going. Today, I look back and realize how much I have changed because of him. Gabriel was not only my patient, but also the person who taught me that love has no labels or limits. Our story began unexpectedly, but it turned into something I never imagined. A life together, full of love. As our relationship progressed, I discovered things about Gabriel that made him even more special. He had a passion for art that I had never mentioned in our first conversations. He painted in his spare time, and one afternoon he invited me into his studio. It was a small but lively space, with canvases leaning against the walls and brushes scattered everywhere. "This is my sanctuary," he said as he showed me a painting he was working on, an abstract portrait full of vibrant colors. Seeing him so focused on his work, his eyes shining with enthusiasm, made me feel something indescribable. It was as if I was seeing a part of him that he had never shown to anyone else. I stood there for hours that afternoon, watching him paint while we talked about our lives, dreams, and fears. It was one of those moments when you feel like everything fits together perfectly. However, it wasn't all easy. There were days when the external pressure got to me more than I wanted to admit. At the hospital, some colleagues began to whisper about my change in attitude. Although no one said anything directly, I could feel the stares and hushed comments. At first, I tried to ignore it, but over time, the tension became evident. One night, while we were having dinner together, Gabriel noticed that I was distracted. "What is it, Daniel?" he asked, with a mixture of concern and tenderness. I didn't want to worry him, but I decided to be honest. I told him about the comments and the stares at work. Gabriel listened patiently, and when I finished, he took my hand. "Don't let that bring you down. Being with me is nothing to be ashamed of. You're an amazing man, Daniel, and anyone who doesn't see that doesn't deserve to be in your life." His words gave me the strength I needed. From that moment on, I decided that it didn't matter what others thought. What really mattered was what Gabriel and I were building together. A relationship based on love, respect, and authenticity. Today, every time I remember how our story began, I smile. I never imagined that a routine checkup would change my life forever, but it did. Gabriel was not only my patient, but also the person who came along to transform my world into something better. If you liked the video and this content brought you value, leave us a like and share it with your friends so they don't miss it.